Let's meet and greet Ibom Dixon. Ibom, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Okay then, somewhere inside all of us is the power to change our country. There's no such thing as a vote that does not count. Every vote counts. Political campaigns are upon us again, and the politician is digging in just so to persuade the voter. Now, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has appointed Akwa State Governor Udom Emmanuel as the chairman of the 2023 Presidential Campaign Council of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and Governor Tambuwal of Sokoto State was named the Director General of the National Campaign Management Committee. So the game is on today.
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons for the PDP to have taken this decision. We have to know that the South-South geopolitical zone of this country, as per the registration of voters for this next year's election, they had 15 million votes, which is fourth position.
50 million registered
voters,
yeah.
Which accounts for about the fourth position. The Northwest is number one with about 22.6 million. The Southwest, 18 million. Then the North Central is 15 million. And when you look at the political history of Nigeria election voting, it is any of the regions that can have block votes. If any candidate can have block votes from two regions in Nigeria, it has the capability of emerging as the president. I think the PDP...
But the
spread is there. But when you have, for instance, when you look at Northwest and Southwest,
okay,
the total number of registered voters already is 40 million out of the 96 million that we have. So if any candidate can secure 60 or 70% from that, it has the capacity of securing or meeting the 25% in 2/3 of the states of the country. I think the PDP, they are trying to make sure that the votes, because of the undercurrents that is happening now, the South-South is up for grabs. And the Southeast too is up for, we know the candidate that is coming from the Southeast. So I think they are trying to whittle down the influence of Wike in view of the crisis that has been generated by the decision of the PDP to insist that Ayu must remain the chairman of the party, thereby upsetting the balance of power that is seen to be within the PDP. So we don't know how far they can go, because you also have to know that the APC has a strong presence in Edo State, which is also a part of the South-South geopolitical zone. And by making Udom now the chairman of the campaign committee, they are forcefully drawing the powers that be, that could be behind the Wike, trying to reduce the influence it will have. So everybody is they are trying to make sure that the Northeast, ironically, is fifth in the number of registered voters. And the Northeast too, that is where the vice president comes from. So both the vice president and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar are going to struggle to get the majority vote from the Northeast. Yeah. So Atiku and PDP are trying to get what they are likely to lose in Northeast to get it in South-South. So it is all bargaining. And you don't get there until you get there. Until February 29 or February, a week to the primary. It's going to be very tough.
Even in politics, these calculations are never like that, because 2 times 2 would never be 4 in politics. It seems to be wishing away your governor's influence in all of this.
Okay,
Governor Wike.
Yeah, because nobody can actually, know what's going to happen in the next minute. So we will always bring in our 2 + 2. And hope it will give us 4. However, what I'm looking at in this part is inclusivity. If you ignore that, because everything they are doing is premised on something, and if you deviate from that, I'm not even looking at the party members. I'm looking at the electorate, because at this point we are looking at everybody.
The electorate at this point is king.
Yes. The office of the voters, office of the citizen, is very powerful. So if they say no to you, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. So what I would advise them at this point is sit at the round table, bury your hatchets, and then look at the way forward. Because if you don't, now, okay, they are given various offices to various people, will this stem the tide in the party? Because if it doesn't, I mean, they should begin to guess where they are headed.
Yeah. Today, they talk about internal democracy is always there.
Yes.
If the parties cannot keep
Respect.
to the rules they have set for themselves, there always will be a problem. And you don't wish up till yesterday, some folks were still saying, Mr. Chairman of the party must go.
Especially the,
led by the governor of Oyo State.
Of Oyo State and the once again, chairman of the PDP committee. You see, the thing is that at any point in time, yes, if you ask the chairman of the party to go, it's likely to be succeeded by the person, somebody from the northeast again. But the problem now is that for the sake of fairness, for the sake of justice, it's not practicable if you have somebody from the north having ruled for 8 years. And the constitution of your party states that the thing has to take to the south. And you now wittingly, I won't say it's an error of omission, but the party should have a way of adjusting to the reality. Idealism is different, but the reality of the situation is that the southerners in the PDP cannot feel comfortable with a northern presidential candidate who may become the president and a chairman of the party. And we all know that when you have the presidency and the chairmanship of the party, you have everything all. So I think, like she said, they should continue that thing. But the fact remains that it's a very difficult situation for the PDP.
She's talking about burying the hatchet. But in politics, burying the hatchet without burying the handle of the hatchet is a big wahala.
Well, I think the real problem lies in the fact that Nigeria's election or the kind of presidential system we are operating is a winner-takes-all basis. If it is not winner-takes-all basis, it should be easy for the PDP to adjust the internal mechanism of the party and say, okay, for now, the doctrine of necessity. And that doctrine of necessity is that we have to ease out the chairman so that if they are really genuine about bringing on board the people from the South, except they do that, you see, laws are made for man, not man for the law. So they should consider the interest of the people from the southern part of the country. Because I'm saying southern part because the South too, they are the southern part of the country. South is too, about the southern part of the country. Perhaps if they have allowed that in, perhaps Obi will not have left PDP. Perhaps Wike will have remained in PDP. Perhaps if a southern candidate has been thrown up by the PDP, we will have been talking about nothing. Because when looking at the political history of the South and Southeast in Nigeria, they are always with the conservatives, right from the First Republic, the Second Republic, and the Third Republic. For you now to cast them away, more so when you just have 8 years of a president from the northern part of the country, it's a gamble. It's a big gamble for the PDP.
Ibn Abo, this gamble in politics doesn't always pay.
It doesn't.
And again, taking the electorate for granted here, they may do their internal calculations, but it does not sync with the electorate, who is king, as we said a while back.
Everybody's watching. You see, he mentioned realism. And I'm thinking that as a political party and your sole mission is to rescue Nigeria
the country,
from
whatever
we are. So how about juxtaposing your realism and your idealism together and give us the best? Because you see, if you are not able to utilize your internal democracy instrument, how do we trust you with a country of 200 million people? It's huge, irrespective of the fact that the candidate Atiku is being addressed as a unifier. You have to start by unifying your party. You have to start by settling
opening the doors to all.
Yes.
JD is talking about northeast, the southeast and the south. You don't wish them away.
It can't even work because, you see, the other parties are watching, looking at what's going to happen. And they are going to leverage every mistake from this party. And if I was a member of either of the two parties, I would do the same. So at the end of the day, who is going to lose here? Because whatever it is you are discussing, whatever problems you are having, it's not the headache of the electorate. It is your headache, and you must take care of it. And 28th of September is around the corner. It's less than 2 weeks. So what are you going to tell us when
Yeah.
you can't hold your house together?
Tunde, quickly, Akwa Ibom's Udom Emmanuel is in charge, the DG of the campaign. You think that should give the party a head start?
Well, if you ask me, the PDP has reduced into the issue of ego and personality. Because you cannot say a governor out of the 6 states in the South is able enough to represent the interests of the voters, like she has said. But they are just compensating themselves with votes and with positions. Like I said, they were trying to whittle the influence of Wiki, not necessarily looking at the interest of the larger majority of the voters from that area. Both South and Southeast has 26.6 million registered voters out of the 96.2 million registered voters all over Nigeria, and that is a figure. Already they are already impaired by the 11 million registered voters from the Southeast who are not likely.
We're talking about 11 states.
11 states. So who are not likely to wholeheartedly return the PDP because they have a candidate from that area.
Okay.